Nepotrebno je reći koliko mi je intervju sa Šimonom Peresom bio važan. On je meni jedan od najvažnijih intervjua koje sam uradila u svom poslu. A da ću sresti njegovog sina u Beogradu, to je za mene stvarno veliko iznenađenje i jedna velika prijatnost. I just said that I couldn't believe that I'm going to meet his son.
Thank you so much.
This is what I said.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
You know, when I saw your father, and when I talked to him, and when he paid a really such a good time that I was so stressed, I couldn't hide that in fact I was talking to a man who fulfilled the dreams.
Yes.
This is a power.
True.
True?
True.
You see it the same way?
Yes. As you know, the book that is now coming up in Serbian is called No Room for Small Dreams. And when I finished reading the book, I said to myself, there are places in the world that people are afraid to dream. There are other places where people dream, but they're afraid to realize their dreams. In modern countries, you can dream and you can realize your dreams. A lot of people are afraid to realize their dreams because they believe that maybe their reality will fall short. But my father was a dreamer and a doer who believed that we should constantly dream, realize the dreams, and dream as big as we can. Because in his life, he has been able to see that the dream of building the state of Israel.
You're a happy man.
What is a happy man? A happy man is a man that can serve other people.
Yes.
Yes, I was given the opportunity to serve other people, so I'm happy. And I mean, money doesn't mean to me very much, luxury doesn't mean to me very much.
What means to you? What
Pardon?
for you is important, for example, in a day? What is for you important?
Really important
and
for me
essential?
in a
Yes.
day is, first of all, to learn what's new. Every day there are news, complicated, scientific, political. I spend a great deal of time to read. I read probably 4 or 5 hours a day. Then I watch the people, and as you
watch
can,
them.
oh sure, and as you can learn from books, you can learn from people as well. People are also a book.
In a book, there is a tiny piece which is going back to his childhood.
Yes.
This reminds me exactly of my childhood. The first contact with Israel was the oranges, which are coming in this kind of a very soft paper, in a
Yes.
kind of a wooden box.
Yes.
This was the same. It was here the same, you know?
Yes.
and that you cannot get few oranges. You get one, right? It's a large family, and you get this pointing out to this kind of a similar things all over the world where the Jews are, a connection with the country, which is waiting for you there, right?
Yes, absolutely. We call those oranges, we call them golden apples. And my father writes about the first time he saw an orange and he smelled the beautiful sense, the essence of the orange, and it was translated actually to a dream to come and live in Israel. This was actually his first dream, to come and live in Israel, a dream that he realized at the age of 11 when he came with his mother and brother. And he always talks about the kind of a land he discovered. As a young boy, he said it was a small piece of land that had no water, very refusing land, that it was almost impossible to grow crops. And he used to say, we have swamps in the north, desert in the south. We have 2 lakes. One is dead, the other one is dying. And in between them runs the Jordan River, which has more history and fame than water. And I think it was that point in time when he realized that if we are to build a state, we will have to build it from our brain power, not from the land. Because we were blessed with nothingness. We just had nothing. So how do you settle down? How do you defend yourself? How do you build economy? From the very beginning, Israel was born out of a dream, and it was built out of brain power. This is why Israel is so unique.
Childhood. Did you see your father often? He was so busy. You know, when I saw him, it was scheduled to the minute, or use it properly, or don't do it, you know. He was so active. What did you see from him?
So, you know, in the book, in the epilogue at the end, he says, my life was given to me as a present. I was given some 2.5 billion seconds to live, and I decided not to waste any of those seconds and leave a mark on the world. So he was extremely busy. He was reading, and he was meeting, and he was working, and he was traveling all over. But he always was a source of inspiration for us as children, because he used to come for the weekend for sure, to be with his family, and he always had stories to tell us. So we were fascinated by the stories because he saw the world, he met with great people around the world, and he was a great storyteller. So for us, you know, some people that are as great as my father was can cast a shade on their children and actually put them in a very problematic situation. How do you grow up, and you know, when you compare yourself to your father? But for me, it was like a tree that let the sun go through the branches and empower you, actually. So he never told me what to do or what not to do. He always said what he's doing and served as a source of inspiration. And I looked up to him, and I learned from him to read books. I learned from him so many lessons. So he was also a great teacher for life for me. And of course, I cannot compare it to any other, you know, father and child kind of relationship. But he was a very special individual, and I realized that in a very early stage in my life.
It was a burden too. It was a burden, you know.
It is a burden.
To be his son.
It is a burden because lots of people do not really judge you on the merits of who you are, what you did. If you are successful, they will probably attribute it to his support. Or,
and you are?
I'm okay.
You're okay.
If you fail, they say, okay, look at him and look at his father, right? So I understood from very early stage in my life that I need to build my own skeleton and my own muscles. And thank God I had a great mother who was there to, you know, make us all realize that everyone is just, you know, human beings with weaknesses, with strength, and that we have to believe in ourselves and we have to do, you know, the things that we like to do or that we feel that we were destined to do. So we grew up quite healthy. I mean, I've seen other families that had a father figure that was very well known, and it was completely disaster in terms of family life. We were very lucky. We had both parents were very unique individuals, and they balanced each other very much.
Do you recall maybe when he was holding you? What are your first memories of him holding you?
You know, my first picture is my father handing me to David Ben-Gurion when I was 8 days old. You know, you go through circumcise. And that picture is actually, you see myself, and on one side you see my father, on the other side you see David Ben-Gurion, and in between them the rabbi. And once I had this picture, I figured out that I don't need to take any other picture with anybody in the world. I had the founder of Israel, I had this right hand, and that's enough for me. I don't need to take pictures with any other people around the world.
You must have a secret, because you are 88. And it's not a compliment, it's a statement. You look very well. You are a man who controls things, who knows things, and you're 88. It must be. No, nothing is wrong. I just want to have a secret. Tell me.
Well, first of all, I'm not in a hurry, so I don't want to reveal the secret. But I'll tell you. The real thing is to control yourself.
It's difficult.
It's not difficult. If you think about it, you have to live with other people, and you have to respect them, and you have to care for them, and to be sincere as much as you can. And alternatives are unimportant. Now, we are not fair to other people, none of us. You know, when a baby is being born, he's totally altruistic, doesn't have a drop of ego. But then in order to exist, he has to fight for his life. The first, shall I say, problem he has is with his mother. Mm-hmm. The mother loves him, but she wants to take away from him his freedom. How do you see it? How do you go? And then the ego begins to develop. And then the poor child has to fight all his life for his existence. The friends are gossiping. The teachers don't give good marks. The others are threatening. And poor man, if instead of it he would be encouraged, his whole life and the life of the world would be different. So I think that philosophically and also personally, there is no greater thing than to be in love or to help other people. It takes the same time, and since each of us has a portion of the length of life, according to the latest book by a very important philosopher, now Kahneman, each of us is given 600 million minutes of life. So you have to think how to use these 600 minutes. They are disappearing finally. And make a good use of them. And don't be afraid. And, you know, there are some strategic decisions that I took as a person. For example, I decided who will insult me.
Who?
May insult me. Not everybody can. Because if I shall be afraid of every insult, I won't wake up in the morning. So people insult, I don't care about them. I won't care about their insult. Because part of the insult comes from jealousy, from disagreement, misunderstanding. So what? Let them go. As I forgive myself, I forgive them as well. And really to select what to do. There are many options, and you have to use your mind to do the right things. There's nothing wrong with it.
Definitely, I got some advices, and you gave me your secrets away.
Sure.
And
there's no secret.
No, this is a secret. Because if you put them all together, you see, and you give them in such a strong message, then it's a secret. I will definitely send the interview to you, because I got many, many advices, you know, from him. Not everything is on the tape.
Yes.
I somehow grabbed some more moments with him, asking him how long you can be active, how long you can have dreams. I do have a lot of dreams. Sometimes they are completely not realistic, but somehow they happens to fulfill them, you know.
Yes.
The way how he counts everything in life was very, very interesting. he was focused on things.
Yes.
Can you recall what he told you? He must told you, don't do this or be careful with that. Every parent.
Never.
Never?
Never. Actually, when he met with young children, he would say to them, don't listen to your parents, don't listen to your teacher. They will only tell you what you cannot do, what you're not allowed to do, what you shouldn't do, because they want to protect you. He would say, listen to your inner voice, listen to your inner potential, discover the potential that is inside yourself and go after your dreams and realize your dreams. So he was all in favor of empowering people from within their inner abilities and telling them you have so much more than you can know or believe. So find the power that is inside yourself. He would never tell you what not to do. He would tell you what he would do. So for example, he would say, you know, serve a great cause, because if you serve a great cause, you will become a great person, right? He would say, try to think as opposed to remember. People try to remember, but they forget to think about tomorrow. He would say, be optimistic, because optimist and pessimist die the same way, but they live different lives. He would say to you that you cannot change the past, so focus on the future. You can shape the future, and if you fail, rise and continue. There's nothing you can do about the past. Leave the past behind you. Focus on tomorrow. So there are so many lessons that you learn from his own life, his own experience, and he would inspire you. He would not tell you what not to do. He would inspire you what to do by serving as an example.
Mr. President, thank you very much for this interview.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you. And I want just to give it to you something. Just a second. Just a second. I'll give you something. A second. Okay. This is something which I brought to you. It's an apple for good health. For a good health. It's a simple
that's the way it started in the paradise. It's very dangerous for a man to take an apple for a lady.
Okay, that's why I'm giving it to you. Just take it and be safe. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, but I'm not going to eat it. It's
no,
dangerous.
just put it on. Okay. Just put it on. Put it on your table. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you very
President.
much.
How are you? You personally, your family.
I'm good, thank you.
And how you plan to live? What are your dreams? You must have some dreams.
Yeah, of course. So in my life, my first dream was really to be active in the Israeli Defense Forces, to help protect my country. So I served significant amount of years in the Air Force. But then when I left, my second dream was really to make Israel independent in terms of its economy. I thought that militarily we're quite strong, but if we want to be resilient, we have to be independently, economically independent. And so I started to focus on building the high-tech ecosystem in Israel. And I've been actively building startup companies and venture funds for the last almost 30 years, to the point where Israel really is a thriving economy, very independent, very stable, constantly growing. My next dreams is actually to create Israel not just as a startup nation, but as a role model for a nation that embraces moral values, that creates a positive impact on the world. We can do that with our innovation and with our companies. We can actually impact the world for the better. We call it tikkun olam. So in addition to my investment activities, I'm also running the Perez Center for Peace and Innovation. And I'm continuing the work that my father started on building peace in the region, privatizing the peace process, and embracing innovation as a platform for Israel to continue and grow. And share with them the notion that we have to depart from this old world when you are great on the expense of others and enter a new world where you can become great without, not on the expense of others. Or in other words, become innovation nations. Part of the reason I'm here in Serbia is because Serbia is showing a great interest to become an innovation nation, to embrace the young generation and start working on building the startup ecosystem and innovation ecosystem. For me, a country that is making this transformation into an innovation nation will be a peaceful country. When you master innovation, you don't have to fight others.
It's very interesting that you said that, because this country is in a permanent turbulent situation.
Like many other countries.
What?
Like many other countries.
Many. But you know, we are here and we think that only we are in a turbulent situation. Yes. So to see such a peaceful smile on your face, such an optimistic statements, gives me a kind of a, of a peace in my mind and my soul. And I'm very glad to meet you,
Thank you so
very,
much.
very, very much, You look like your father. And you
I'll take it as a compliment.
Yes, of course. And you have such a peace. You're so peaceful.
Yes, because I think
How?
I think there are a lot of things that are in our hands. Sometimes we tend to forget. For example, when I look at Israel, I'm saying that Israel is like a tree. It has very, very deep roots, and it grows very high. Our deep roots are because we invest in education, in research, in development, because we empower the young generation. And with that, they grow the tree strong and they bear fruits, which are shared on a global basis. We're innovating for the world. And I think that every country can do that, regardless of the external situation. It is in our hands. If the government in Serbia decides that Serbia is going to be an innovation nation, they can do it. All they have to do is focus their mindset on investing in the infrastructure, inspiring the young generation to take risk, to create their own destiny, take the future in their hands, because the future is in our hands. The past is not in our hands, but there's nothing we can do about the past. So I'm smiling and I'm calm because I know that there is a full of opportunities in the future. It just depends on what do you prefer to do. Do you prefer to look at the future and shape it, or do you want to look at things that you don't control?
Mr. Peres, please come often, will you?
Of course.
You have to come every month, really, to give the lecture and then to give some advices and to make people maybe change their attitude, just to learn from everything what happened to you, everything what happened there. It was not always easy,
Never
it was
easy.
not.
No.
No. So please do come. It was,
Thank you.
Not an official, just to sit with people and just to talk, because I learned a lot this time too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It
Thank you
was
so much.
Very, very nice to meet you, really, really.
And in between, maybe I suggest to read the book that my father wrote. Because when you read the book, you really see through his life that he took initiative to change situation, to build new things, even when there was an opposition or skepticism. When you believe in something, go after it and realize your dreams. But until then, thank you very much for the interview and for the invitation. I'd like to be here as much as I can.
I did read the book in English, and now I'm going to read it in my language.
Fantastic.
And it is a kind like a manual. This is not a book. This is a
Yes.
manual for a life.
Exactly.